Ah, yes, the Murder Ball series. Here we go. Today and over the next few days, we are going to talk about the marches of Rise of Kingdoms. What you want to do. Whether you're running 5 marches, 6 marches, or 7 marches, we're going to break it down. And we're going to tell you exactly what is the best thing to run. I update this video about every quarter, about every 3 months, and it's time to do it with Chin in the game. So today, we're going to talk about your 5 march Murder Ball. So stick around while we dive into it. Hey everybody, I'm your boy War Daddy Chatsky. I put out videos all the time, and if you enjoy those videos and you enjoy this one, throw a like on here, put a thumbs up on it. It really helps out the channel, and if you're not subscribed, consider doing so. We are blasting through subscriptions, and apparently people like the content we put out. I guess they do, or they're just here to make fun of me, which is fine too, but I appreciate that support from the community. Let's get right into this. Over the next 3 days, we're going to talk about the 5 march Murder Ball that you could run, your best 5 marches in different contrasts and different orders. If you have different troop types, different commanders, we're going to go through it all for you. Then tomorrow we're going to talk about the 6 march Murder Ball. There's a lot of players who run 6 marches, or if you're getting into SOC and you've got Crystal Tech, there's a period of time in a KVK where you're running 6 marches. And then on the following day, we're going to talk about a 7 march Murder Ball. So this is a Murder Ball series. This is our best marches series that we're going to do. And you can see right here, this is where everybody puts their best marches, right? When you're fighting in KVK, you want to run your presets. And so this gives you an idea. With the development of our boy Chin, who has come into the game, this is the most powerful commander we've ever seen in the game. He's as powerful as Attila was when Attila first came into the game. Attila came into the game about 5 years ago, and he's still relevant today, and that's how powerful he was back then. But here was the weird part. This skill right here, which is regarded as one of his best skills, okay, it's an all damage skill, and he gives all damage bonuses. Okay, this, when he first came out, did not have a cooldown. And it was absolutely broken. It was broken. So they even had to nerf Attila. And even after nerfing Attila, he was amazing 5 years ago. He's still amazing in certain situations today. But now they've actually met that level of power with the commander. And it's Chin. And guess what? They are not going to nerf Chin. He is what he is, and you're going to run him. Everybody's going to run him. It does not matter. We can do an investment tier list, and this guy's at the top. He's at the top times 10. Okay, it doesn't matter what you're working on. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Stop what you're doing and go work on this guy. And he changes the entire Murder Ball lineup, not just with him, but what he brings with it. Because not only is he this good and he does some weird stuff, we're not going to get into all the interesting things that he does, but the bottom line is he is a pure skill damage commander. That's all. The only damage he does is skill damage. So he has revived YSG. Why? Because YSG has the highest skill damage bonus on a perpetual basis, 50%. YSG grabs another 12% from the museum buff, so it makes it a busted good march. It makes it the best march in the game. It does more damage, and it does incredible things in the game. And so that is a particular march that has changed things, because now you're bringing YSG in the field. What? Like, I know some Archer players who are Archer psychos who ran 3 and 4 Archer marches would run YSG, but now that's the first march you bring. So let's go through this as we've got our cavalry, we've got our infantry, we've got all these different commanders that you can run, and we're going to go through it all, and we're going to get an idea. So let's do that, okay? So first and foremost, let's run option 1. Okay, this is a 5 march option 1. Okay, I'm not saying this is the best option, but this is basically our 2-2-1 setup, our 2 cavalry, 2 infantry, 1 archer setup. All right, this is very common. A lot of players have this. So what we do with that, there's not much change to this, because the best 2 cav marches you can run right now, if you have everybody and you have the ability to bring Philip over, the best 2 marches you can run right now are Huo Joan and Arthur Phillip. Are those the best marches in the game? No, they're not. But if you run a 2-2-1 situation, this is what you run. You run Huo with Joan, and you run Arthur with Philip. Listen, I love Arthur with William, okay? I love Arthur with William. I love to be able to run him as a primary commander. I've got crazy Delta sets. People are working on this, and not just working on it for now, but we know that a Cav field commander for combo is coming in the game in the fall, and it's not going to be that much time left, and so we're all ready for it. We have this. A lot of people have the Prince of the Hero's Hilt, which is going to be the combo accessory, and so I've got my Prince ready to go for Hero's Hilt, and because this is going to be something that we need to look at doing and look at having. We got to make sure we've got this, and so from there we are in a situation to where we are ready for that next combo commander. But for right now, as we sit here at the end of July and August 2025, that is not the case. So we're going to run Arthur with Philip. Great synergies together. Arthur with the butterfly effect on his special inscription, or the causative effect with the rare inscription on Delta, makes Philip proc more. Philip has one of the best instant procs in the game, where he not only does AoE instant proc, but he also mitigates rage for whoever that proc hits. Okay, so those are the best two cavalry marches you can run. Infantry is simple and easy. Okay, BQ Luce. It used to be the best march in the game. It's still amazingly better than anything else. But now that Chen is in the game, it has changed things to where it's still the best infantry march you can run. And then you run Ragnar with Scipio. Ragnar Scipio is really, really good. It is our infantry wedge skill damage march. Ragnar is still super powerful. This thing trades so good, even after Ragnar has been out for, 9 months now. It's incredible how this has really done well and withstood the test of time. And then if you run one Archer March, I am not going to sit here and debate whether or not it's Chen YSG or Chen Zuge. I can tell you what I like. It's Chen YSG. It just did better. Hands down. Like, it was noticeably better. Now, Chen Zuge for me did amazing. He still did better than all my other marches, but YSG was just that much better, more damage. However, if you're an Archer player, you have Zuge on the bench, and you don't want to leave him there, Zuge does something that is actually pretty good when it comes to this. Let me go in here just real quick and show you. Zuge is it's kind of a reverse Philip situation. He does debuff 5 marches for 3 seconds. That's 3 seconds of skill mitigation for 5 marches that you hit. I say skill mitigation, I mean all damage mitigation for 5 marches that you hit. So a lot of people like that. And I get it, and I understand. So you could easily run Chen with Zuge, or you could easily run Chen with YSG. So there's your 2-2-1 situation with 2 cavalry, 2 infantry, and 1 archer. Okay, let's go to option 2. And again, these options aren't like in the best order. They're just the order that I picked them. Okay, so I'd spare me any of those comments when it comes to that. Okay, so let's go to the next option. Okay, this is a 1-2-2 situation. This is if you run 1 cavalry. The best cavalry march, and what I would argue is the 3rd best march in the game behind Chen YSG and BQ Luce. The close 3rd that can kind of rival BQ Luce sometimes is Huo Arthur. And the reason why Huo Arthur is really, really exceptional, because Arthur's a funny commander. As a secondary commander, he is a skill damage commander, and he does a ton of skill damage. A ton. And he's got a 4 skill and an expertise that's just weird, because this has no cooldown. If this commander is serving as a secondary commander, their troops gain the Light of the Stone effect. Whenever their troops deal direct damage, any kind of skill damage, it has a 25% chance to deal additional damage every second for 1 second. Okay, so it's almost like an extra oomph when you hit either with Huo or with Arthur. I've seen this fire off with both of them. There is no cooldown on it. That's what's crazy about it. A little extra 50% of what you just got hit with, get hit with it again. And then if it procs again, get hit with it again. It is so, so good and so powerful. And so that is why you always want to look at, if you're just running 1 cavalry march, Huo with Arthur is what you want to look at, okay? The infantry doesn't change in this dynamic. It's BQ Luce and Ragnar Scipio. So we keep that where it is. Now we're going to talk about archers. And this is my preference, okay? The beauty with YSG is it allows us to run 2 archers really, really easily. You run Chen with YSG, and then you run Zuge with Philip or Zuge with Herman. Okay, Zuge Herman is still a really, really good march. It's still in-game march, and it's really, really good. Herman is fantastic. He still lays down the poison stacks, which help out Chen because Chen's hitting everything. Every damn thing around, he's hitting every second with red numbers. It's wild. But I prefer to make sure Philip is on the field. He's that good. Philip never needs to be taken off the field ever, because of what he does. And so when we look at Philip overall, let's go into his skills and just so everybody understands what he does. All right. He is the first time we've had a buffing style commander that is a great march commander. He's going to trade positive. He's going to do weird things in the field because he's putting up so much all damage for the march he's on. You're going to do this effect for 2 seconds to 5 allied troops, including your own, right? You're going to take 10% less damage, makes everybody more tanky for a couple of seconds, and you're going to deal 20% more damage. That's insane. That's wild. But for his particular march, those get multiplied by 2. So he does a 40% all damage bonus for those 2 seconds to your march. And it's wild how that works out. Plus, he's got this expertise that allows him to proc 40% chance you're going to run your active skill a second time. Whenever the other commander in their troop uses an active skill, you have a 20% chance. So you have a 60% chance to run a second proc of an active skill of either Philip or whoever he's with, and in this case, Zuge, which is really, really good. Okay, you come to his third skill, all damage. You're running 1 troop type. He's so versatile, it's great. You want to run Philip in your murder ball. You will always run Philip in your murder ball as we sit here at the end of July or August 2025. Okay, that's where we're at. All right, so let's come back in here and look at this. From there, we're going to go to our third option. So we did a 2-2-1, a 1-2-2, and now we're going to do a 2-1-2. So this is 2 cavalry, 1 infantry, 2 archers. Okay, this is the best thing you can do. Huo Joan, you run Arthur Philip, the best 2 cavalry marches combined that you can run. And then if you're in a situation where you don't have CPO, you didn't invest in him because he was getting old, or you haven't invested in Ragnar, or you just have one of those guys and you don't have them both, then you can run this. BQ Luce at your 1 infantry march, and then your 2 archer marches, Chen YSG, Zuge Herman. You've moved your Philip over back with Arthur, and you brought Herman into the fold. So that is your 5 march, option 3. That's just with a 2 cavalry, 1 infantry, 2 archer setup. Pretty easy and pretty simple. Okay, now let's go into some of the psycho situations. This is what I like. Let's go with a 3 cav, 1 infantry, 1 archer situation. Cav players run this a lot, okay? And a lot of people will try to figure this out when they run zone 5s of a KVK. Even if they go spin Crystal Tech and they're going to get 6 or 7 marches, they'll have to run 3 cavs, 1 archer. I ran this particular setup many times because I have crazy cav stuff. And before I got Chen, I didn't even run any archers. I ran a 3 cav, 2 infantry setup. So now it's completely changed, and it's changed for me and my recommendation. Now, here's what you have to understand about this. I know you look at this and you're like, Huo Belly? Are you serious? And Joan Philip? What? Trust me. I have run the calves as much as anybody in this game, and I have had to come around on the Joan Philip. I didn't understand it. I didn't know why it worked, but it just works. The reason why I didn't like Joan with Philip is because Joan does a second proc of her skill. And if Philip does a second proc of his skill, okay, let's find our boy here. If Philip does a second proc of his skill or her skill, then you're just delaying your rage cycle. And then I started to realize this, and I'll never forget somebody telling me, like, Chadsky, if you're running a skill cycle every 2 seconds, who gives a rip? If you're rage capping and you're just waiting to run a skill cycle, you're just running it every 2 seconds. You could literally run on your first skill cycle. You could literally run a situation where boom, Joan hits with hers, boom, Philip hits with his, Then Joan, 100% chance she hits with hers. That's 3 skills or active skills in a row. And then boom, Philip hits with his again. And then the next turn or the next 2 seconds, Joan hits again. And then Philip hits again. I've literally seen this to where when that active skill goes off turn 1 for Joan, that's turn 1, turn 2, no skill, turn 3, Philip, turn 4, no skill, turn 5, Joan, turn 6, no skill, turn 7, Philip, turn 8, no skill, turn 9, Joan, turn 10, no skill, turn 11, Philip. Like you literally have 6 active skills going off in an 11-second period. It works. Trust me. It is wild how that works. And so I am a believer of that. And if you're going to run that with a kind of a 2 skill damage situation, I'm like, to hell with this. I'm moving Joan with Philip. Allows me to get Philip on the field. It's going to be a little glass cannon, but who gives a hell? I mean, who gives a rip? That doesn't matter. And then I run Hua with Belly. Hua with Belly, guys. If you've never run it, just run it. Just try it out. I know it's single target, but it is what I refer to as my March killer. It is so much damage to a single target. You're getting the 12% all damage expertise from Belisarius. I love getting him on the field. And this works really, really well. And then that allows me to run Arthur with William. Okay, we know this about Arthur and William. The Arthur procs go off more and more often when it comes to being able to proc commanders he's with that have instant procs. That's why Philip works really good with Arthur. And why when we come over here to William, where is William? Let's go find this guy. When you come over here to William, he's got an insane instant proc, so good. You're surrounding marches all the time. And if you're surrounding them, you're gonna run this instant proc damage on the march to 1500. It's only got a cooldown of 5 seconds. So with Arthur, that's why Arthur William works. With Arthur and with Arthur's combo, his combo stuff that he does, where he gets more chances to proc off this. And then if you've got a butterfly here, or you've got the rare inscription here, you're in a situation to where you are running up those instant procs so much faster. Okay, it's just weird, whether it's butterfly or causative. All right, causative gives you an 8% more likely chance to trigger effects triggered by basic normal attacks. It's wild. Same thing with butterfly, 20% more likely chance to trigger effects triggered by launching a basic attack. And those basic attacks help those instant procs fire off like Williams. It's great. And so that's why that Arthur William setup really, really works. So Arthur William, that's your 3 cap setup. Now, if you think I'm crazy with an Attila factor down here in the bottom, think again. Attila Philip is amazing. If you're a Cav rally lead and you have an arch set on Attila and you want to get him in the field, you run him with Philip or you run him with Bertrand. The reason why Bertrand and Philip work is because Philip does all damage. I've done a whole video on this, okay? The beauty with Attila is that Attila does damage like every second. He has all these different procs. He's got his active skill, he's got his force skill. He just does damage every second, just white numbers, just pumping out damage. That's what he does. And the reason why it works with Philip is because Philip, actually, this particular skill, you get the 40% all damage for 2 seconds. Well, for Attila, he just does damage every second, so he doesn't care when that thing procs off. And if this goes off a second time because of his expertise, you're just hitting people with Attila with all damage bonuses. That's all you're doing. And people are like, oh, it doesn't trade well. No, it trades amazing. Oh, well, you just can't do the KP you do on other marches. Want to bet? You do crazy amounts of KP. I can't even believe it. Like on a march that does no active skill damage or no active smite or combo damage, no big red numbers, this march crushes it in the field. And then you can't say, well, it's a selfish march. No, it's not. It's the most selfless march in the game because you're laying out all these bonuses and less damage taken mitigation and 20% bonus to 5 marches. So it's actually a selfless, very utility type of march. So that's why you run that. The other thing, and we've tested this out, my buddy Stafford's been running it in the altar. There is a Bertrand situation going on here with Attila. And the reason why is a Bertrand is combo, okay? I know a lot of people might say you can go put this behind Arthur, and that's fine. You can do that too. However, because Attila works with Gorgo in Artifact KDKs, because Attila works with Scipio Emilianus in Artifact KDKs, he is enhancing the smite damage, right? Because smite damage is affected by normal damage bonuses. Attila has the best normal damage bonus in the game. He gives 30% for 4 seconds. It's great. And so that helps smite, it helps combo, it helps everything. So now that we have Subutai, that's the rally of choice. It's Attila Subutai. So take that same philosophy and go put Bertrand behind him in the field. He's doing combo attack damage factor for his active skill, and it's not much. Okay, he's basically doing 1,200 to 3 enemy targets with that 15% mitigation, okay? It's not much. However, there's rage reduction. Like, Bert's got some weird stuff. He's got a combo damage factor that he does, and he's got a rage requirement increase he puts on the target. Like, what? He does a rage drain. Like, he does weird things. And you put him with Attila, and it's going to trade amazing, and it's going to suck the rage out of the target. It's going to make the target have increased rage. This is the rage requirement increase is the most potent rage manipulation in the game, outside of just silencing. Like, when Guan silences, that manipulates everything, right? The next thing is that it's not taking rage, or it's not reducing the rage that the target can get. It is increasing the rage requirement to 1,200. And so even if you're swarming down a target and they're rage capping, it takes an extra second for them to pop off their active skill because of the rage requirement increase. Okay, so there's my Bert stance for you. And since Attila is boosting or giving this a bonus, it just works. And so that's why there's always kind of an Attila caveat there. And a lot of people, a lot of my buddies and everybody knows, like, oh gosh, how long before Chadsky starts mentioning Attila? So there is an Attila factor if you're running to run 3 cavalry with a 5-march setup. There's an Attila factor there. If you want to run Attila with Philip, you can just easily move Joan behind Huo and bench Belly. That's how you can do it. If you want to run Attila with Bertrand, same thing. You can move Joan behind Huo, and then you can move Philip behind William. Essentially, you're benching Belly and William. So there's a couple different ways you can do that. Okay, that's it. Enough for the Cavs on the 3 marches. Let's go to our situation to where we run 3 infantry marches. Okay, easy for Cavs. Huo, Arthur. Oh, by the way, let me come back to this real quick. The last thing is the archers. You see Chen, YSG, and Zuge. I always put that there because if people want to run Zuge, like we talked about earlier, or if you want to run them with YSG, it's up to you, but it's got to be Chen. If you're just running 1 archer march, it's got to be Chen. Okay, so let's go to the next thing. 3 infantry, easy. Huo, Arthur, no problem. This is where it gets interesting for infantry, and this is what we have found to be the best combinations. You run Ragnar with Scipio, you run BQ with Wallace, and then you run Luce with Philip. Okay, and the reason why you run Luce with Philip and nothing else is because Luce with Philip is the same kind of dynamic that Arthur gives Philip. Okay, when we come over here to Luce's expertise is probably one of the most important expertise in the game. There's a 25% chance to do an extra, they call it a combo attack. It's basically an extra basic attack in 1 second. There is no cooldown on this. So this fires off all the time. Well, if you're doing an extra combo attack, okay, it is just increasing the odds for instant procs. Well, in my opinion, where's this thing at? This is the best instant proc in the game. I think it's better than Alex's. I think it's better than Williams. I think it's better than anybody's. Whenever this Commander's Troops launches a basic attack to troops on the map, it has a 10% chance to deal direct damage to up to 3. It's an AoE instant proc of 800. That's a 2,400 damage factor. That's mitigated by 15% if you hit 3. But it also reduces their rage. You're manipulating their rage, and the cooldown's only 3 seconds. So people who, like, listen, Ragnar with Philip is great. I've run that before. It's awesome. If you're thinking about infantries, okay? People who run like BQ with Philip, BQ is going to carry anybody, so it's going to look good. But the most efficient thing you can do is to get this to fire off more often, and you run Philip with Luce, hands down, no questions asked. That's the best thing to do. And then you bring Wallace with BQ. Let me show you why Wallace BQ works. okay? Wallace BQ works because Wallace is a single target damage dealer, and that's fine. I get that. He's got a little bit of a weird AoE, okay, that you can do extra smite damage, but he's mainly a single target nuker. But he's got this weird skill here. Whenever your commander deals smite damage with a damage factor over 1,000, so whenever you do an active skill smite damage of like BQ, there's an 80% chance that damage will be increased by 40 seconds. He is a bombshell that goes off for our homeboy BQ right here. Because if you get that thing to fire off with BQ's 5-target AoE at 2,400, it is great. That's why it works. It just works. And he does some weird shielding. So Wallace comes into play when you're running 3 infantry marches. This is what people have to understand when it comes to William Wallace. So that's your 5-march setup. That's your 5-march setup when it comes to that's your 5-march setup when it comes to 3 infantry. Now let's go to the archers. Hooray! We can finally run 3 archer marches because of Chin. All right, you run the best cavalry you can, Huo Arthur. You run the best infantry you can, BQ Luce. Then you're gonna bring YSG in. You're gonna run Chin YSG, best march in the game. You're gonna bring Philip in. You're gonna run him behind Zuge. That is a phenomenal march, gets Philip on the field. And then, because Ash is still doing it today, even though he's a rally commander, he still does great AoE, and you're gonna run him with Herman. Now you can run Ash Herman or Herman Ash, however you wanna do it. If you want the support tree, you run Herman Ash, okay? So there's different ways to do that, but there is your 3 archer situation. And before Chin, we would have told you you're absolutely insane to run 3 archers. They're just not powerful enough. They're squishy, they're slow, it sucks. With Chin, let's go to work. Like, load them up, because we're running archers now, baby. And so that is your final 5-march murder ball lineup that we're going to talk about today. Now, we could do psycho lineups of like 4 cavs and an infantry, or 4 infantry and one archer. We could talk about all that, but we just basically ran through this. Option 1, 2-2-1 setup. Option 2, 1 cavalry, 2 infantry, 2 archer setup. Option 3, 2-1-2 setup with 2 archers, but just 1 infantry. Option 4, 3 cav setup. Option 5, 3 infantry setup. Option 6, 3 archer setup. So that is your 5-march murder ball. That's your 5-march lineup that you want to run in this game to go get as much KP as you can, to go help out in the field as much as you can. And that's one of the things we wanted to do. Again, we do this about every 3 months. When new commanders come out, we adjust things and work through them, and that is the best thing that you can run. So the next video, we're going to talk about a 6-march lineup, and now stuff starts to get a little bit crazy. Okay, a lot crazy. I know you guys are sitting here in Artifact KVK looking at my Attila CJ. Hey, don't judge. Don't judge. That was my best march. We'll talk about that in some of the next videos when it comes to artifacts and how Smite commanders behind Attila break the game. It's absolutely incredible. I've been doing it with Luce for almost 2 years. So if you enjoyed the video, throw a like on here, consider subscribing. If you're not subscribed, it doesn't cost you anything. It really helps out the channel. Be sure to comment in the comments below. I always love to engage there, but that's your 5-march murder ball lineup. I do a ton of KP, as you can see. I run a ton of marches, and I do a ton of field fighting, and that is what I've come up with, and it doesn't let people down. There's not a whole lot of argument there, but there could be some adjustments or ideas, and if you have an idea, go to my Discord. My Discord link is in the description. Get my attention in there. Tag me. Say, Chadsky, I run this. It's amazing. Check it out. That's where I get my ideas. That's how we go through this and pick commanders and go through all the different ideas and tests and what you can do. So join my Discord. Be a part of the community. And with all that, hope you guys have a great day, broskies. We'll see you later.